Gas Pump, House Dump, and Stew Volcano. Let's talk about the Connors. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It, and welcome to my Connors review for episode now 16 of season 4 of The Connors. I've reviewed all of the episodes of The Connors and Roseanne season 10, and I even went back and took a look at the old Roseanne seasons and did videos on those too. So check out all of that stuff on my channel, and thank you for finding this video. If you are not a subscriber to Dan Reviews It, I would love to have you aboard. We're trying to reach 1,000 subs. We're up in we're getting to the mid 900s here. So would love to have you aboard if you are enjoying this video. So let's talk about this episode. Really, even though there's 3 mentions in the title, there's really only 2 things at play here. Gas Pump and Stew Volcano are the same storyline. And that's actually, I think, the B story. So we'll save that for a few minutes from now. But House Dump is going to be the first one. So we found out a few episodes ago that Darlene and Becky are looking to buy a house together. Essentially, Darlene is going to buy the house, but Becky is going to pay her rent. But the thought being, look, Dan and Louise are married now. There's way too many, 40-somethings in the house. Let them have their own house and let Darlene sort of be out on her own. Maybe that will make her more enticing for Ben to return to her. And Ben plays heavily into this episode in the B story, which is great. But we have our old friend Patton Oswalt back as Don Blansky, the resident mortician of Lanford, and he is trying to essentially offload this old funeral home house that is in his family's name, and there are no takers. So he is basically offering a pretty low ball price for the place. Essentially, just take over the mortgage payments, $500 a month, no money down. And so, oh my gosh, we get this beautiful, beautiful old house. I forget if they said like it's Victorian era, but it's in that sort of range. It's definitely old and has a lot of charm and beauty. However, there's also a lot of sort of depressing stuff in there because Becky and Darlene were thinking about all the dead bodies that have been in there. But once they go upstairs and see a child's room with a bunch of, nice painted walls and some books and stuff, they think, oh, okay, well, this is great. This must be where the kids come to play while the funeral is going on so they don't have to, deal with it. But it's much deeper than that. Darlene looks at some of the book titles and realizes, oh my gosh, this is where they brought the kids to help them with their grief about their dead relatives, their dead parents, what have you. And they were like, this is maybe a little too much. We don't want to put Beverly Rose into this kind of situation with, this stench of grief in the house. So, yikes, that is not gonna go over well with them. So even with this amazing offer, they are going to have to decline. But then Louise comes up with a great idea, and really it will help everybody, I think, because I think it's going to make Dan feel useful again. We had that episode, I think, in season 3, or maybe it was very early this season. I think it was season 3, though, in which Dan was sort of bummed out that, Ben was going to fix the roof because that's his domain. He's, in charge of fixing things, but he's also getting a little older, and it's tough to do that kind of stuff. And there's been a few different episodes about him sort of hurting his back on the drywall project or whatever. So this thread of Dan getting older permeates. And so I think this is a great idea. They're going to buy the property anyway, and Dan is going to essentially build them something new on the land. So love that idea. And I don't know. I don't think he's going to demolish the entire house. The outside, is of course beautiful if it's this Victorian era house. So, okay. But I think this could play into the rest of this season and next season. I think we'll see a lot of fun and as well some maybe emotional moments here with the family working together on this and that kind of thing. So love that. I think it's a great idea. And I'm so glad Louise is back. Katie Sagal is great in the role. But she really fits in well with this family and comes up with some great ideas. and knows the family very well also, because even at the beginning of the episode where they're looking at different places, um, they're saying, "Oh, well, um, I can't afford anything," and Louise is like, "Hey, you're a Connor. You buy something that you can't afford, and then wake up every day for the next 30 years, with heart palpitations." So she gets it. She gets this family, and she fits right in, really. So I love that aspect of it. But yeah, I guess they were talking in the episode about tearing down the house entirely. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But that's sort of the logic as of now, and I like that idea. So, all right, then the B story, which is the gas pump and stew dump, or stew volcano rather. Portion is that Ben did a local commercial at a gas pump for his hardware store, and now the increase in business is evident. 25% more sales. This is great for the biz. And Jackie is having a real struggle with the lunchbox. She's basically doing it herself now. Becky is hardly there because she's focusing on school and raising her daughter. And so, Jackie's lamenting, I'm working these 85-hour weeks. And even when I'm not working, I'm thinking about it. I can relate. I have 3 jobs, and I've been working 70 to 85-hour weeks for about 4 months now, really since about Thanksgiving. So I got it. I can definitely relate to this struggle and the issues within. Now, of course, my jobs are not something that I own. So if she, falls back on, or she, ends up having a decline in business and all of this, or if she works too much less, she could lose the business and all the money she's put into it. So it makes total sense that she would be desperate to not let that happen. She loves this lunchbox. She talks about what she built with Roseanne with it back in the day, and then with Becky a few years ago. But now she feels a little bit lost, and I get it. So she gets Ben to do a commercial for her, and their collaboration is hilarious. It's, I think, some of the funniest stuff this entire season so far. I love Jackie. I think we can agree. Sometimes Jackie goes a little too in the wacky Jackie mode and falls kind of off the deep end. I think she is really like teetering on it here, but it's just funny enough. It's just kind of crazy enough that she's not doing it completely broad, but when she starts giving her ridiculous ideas for the commercial, it's very funny. And then when they're actually filming the first take of the commercial with Harris, there's some funny stuff there with that as well. I think this is the funniest sort of plot line of the season so far. Jackie and Ben don't honestly get to spend that many scenes together, and I really liked seeing Laurie Metcalf and J.R. Ferguson play off each other in that regard. Very funny there. And then Harris, usually when she's in an episode a little more than just like one scene, she's kind of, being a brat or whatever, but she's just along for the ride in this episode, and I think it works very well. She's, we're not dwelling on any of her stuff. We're not talking about Aldo. We're not talking about her living situation. Nope, she's just along for the ride of the commercial and doing funny stuff, and so I really like that. Very, very good B plot, I thought, this week. And it is interesting because I always forget, like, okay, did they change the name of it from the lunchbox to something else when they became a sports restaurant and like a stew restaurant? And they didn't. It is still called the lunchbox. And I do think they should probably have changed the name by this point if they're going to do that. But they talk about how football season is now over and they were mainly like a Bears bar. So now people are going to the other place. I forget the name of it, but like the Drink and Dribble or something like that for basketball season. I thought that was kind of funny. A lot of funny sort of one-liner jokes in this episode for sure. Dan had quite a few, and really everybody got a little bit of a chance to have some comedy in this episode. Now, we didn't see everybody. Like usual, we were missing DJ and Mary. Mark was gone too. We've only seen him really a handful of times this whole season, but that's all right. We got the core family there of adults, and then of course Louise stepping in as well, and Ben stepping in. So everybody had a little bit of time to shine. I am going to say the MVP of this episode for me It's probably between Louise and Jackie. Louise for propelling the story along the most, and she does have some funny moments as well. But I'm gonna give it to Jackie. Laurie Metcalf really gave us the comedy I think that we needed in this episode, especially after a couple episodes ago was triggered. We're still kind of reeling from that episode. Last week's episode had some comedic elements as well, but a little bit more on the serious side too, with Becky's boyfriend getting fired and this and that. So this was really just a mostly comedic episode. Yes, there was, again, Rosanna the Connors always gets the drama going too. Yes, there's that emotional scene where Darlene realizes all the grief that lived in that house with the kids, having to deal with their deceased parents and all of that. But it's really fleeting, and they turned it into a hilarious gag about Charlotte's Web and how Becky has been reading that to Beverly Rose lately. So for me, this was one of the funniest episodes of the season for sure. No real, consequential plot elements, except maybe we'll explore this house thing a little bit more, and see Dan hard at work on that. And hopefully seeing the whole family kind of pitch in. So I love that. That's really it. I don't think we need to dwell on too much else for this episode. Usually I talk longer on like the real emotional ones and stuff like that, but this was mostly for the comedy purposes, and it was the better for it. I think it was great in that regard. I don't believe there is a new episode next week. And I still haven't figured out an episode total for this season. I don't know if it's going to be 20. I would think it would be more than 18. 18 would mean there's only 2 more episodes. Usually seasons wrap up during May for May sweeps. So I don't know, but I don't believe there's a new episode next week. So I will see you when there is one. Let's grade this thing. I'm going to leave a Gas Pump, House Dump, and Stew Volcano with a B+. That's going to do it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see everybody next time.